Hello, I am MPJ and this is FunFunFunction. The last few months there has been a lot of frustration, or I kind of want to just call it negativity in the community. There's a lot of these rants going around where people, I don't know, at first they were just a bit negative and frustrated, but it has lately escalated to people actually just calling out and lashing out and name calling people in the open source community because they've created these tools that the article authors are not happy with in different ways. In today's video I want to talk about one thing and one thing only, and I want to talk about the difference between a maker and a consumer. I want to begin by talking about lake overturns. Sometimes at the bottom of lakes there is a buildup of carbon dioxide during many years, and sometimes when there is a small earthquake, for example, that shakes this big pocket of carbon dioxide loose and it bubbles up to the surface. And these pockets of carbon dioxide, they are so big that they will lower the oxygen levels in the area around the lake so low that the air is no longer breathable. So everything around the lake that needs to, breathe just dies from asphyxiation. Lake overturns are thankfully very rare, but the last time it happened, it killed 1,700 people that were, just hanging around, minding their own business. I find the fact that lake overturns exist to be oddly calming. That is because it reminds me that the universe does not owe me shit. So whenever I run into, some dependency configuration problem or crap that I can't figure out, I try to remind myself that, yeah, this is a bit of a hassle, but the universe could also just decide to randomly kill me. So back to makers and creators. Makers, they go into this chaos and they make sense of it. And they make creation that gives the illusion of order. And consumers, they consume these things. Feature films is an extremely good example of the chaos of the universe being turned into an extremely controlled experience for consumers. So you order tickets online with your friends and you are presented with this nice 2-hour experience in comfy chairs. Somebody had to coordinate thousands of people in order to make this extremely complicated and expensive thing that is a feature film. 3,310 people worked on the Iron Man 3 movie, and I don't know if you have ever managed people, but I find it to be really hard to make 5 people do what I want. Another example that might be more close to home is the smartphone. My absolute favorite quote from XKCD is that computers are essentially just well-organized sand. There are probably hundreds or possibly thousands of components inside of this thing and millions of source lines of code. A smartphone does work remarkably well, considering that it is, well, essentially sand and some metal. But that is because thousands and thousands of people spent an insane amount of work making chaos into this thing that looks like, well, it's not. Of course, we don't strictly build using only sand. We have tools available to us. So what are tools? Tools are things that humans make that are somewhere in between an iPhone and sand. Sort of like, for example, on CPU. The camera that I'm using, it can be seen something in between this episode and photons. I just realized that I have walked in a really stupid way here. I think I have to cross the Tools are something that a maker creates as a byproduct of their making process. They run across a problem that they need to make more efficient, and sometimes they do share that solution by open sourcing them sometimes, or sometimes selling them. There is a subtle but important difference between a tool like React and a consumer good like the iPhone or the Iron Man 3 movie. When you are making an iPhone or a movie like Iron Man 3, you are focused on the audience, on making the audience happy. iPhones and feature films exist primarily to make consumers happy. Whenever I use my iPhone or watch Iron Man 3, I fall into this consumer mindset. I've paid for this thing and it's intended to make me happy, and I'm disappointed if it doesn't. But sometimes when I work with developer tools, I sometimes fall into the consumer mindset there as well. So right now I'm learning Docker and Android, and it sometimes just annoys me greatly how messy things are. For instance, there is no clear way on how to store passwords in Docker, so everybody just has their own solution for it. And in Android, there is a wrapper around the build system that wraps another build system, which is also a project management system and a package manager. And it is especially easy for me to get into this mentality when there are companies involved, like Docker and Google, because it kind of makes it feel like they are consumer products. You just feel like, this is shit! Why can this not be like an iPhone? They speak at these conferences and then promote these things and their careers benefit from it. I am entitled to having this work! I'm gonna go home and write an article on Medium. In moments when I feel like that, and also in moments like this road, I should not walk this road again. Jesus Christ, there's a lot of cars. It's in moments like that I try to remember that development tools are not like iPhones. They are not built to please me in the way that a feature film or iPhone is made. I try to remember that tools are made as side effects of another maker solving a problem. And it's up to me as a maker to wade through all the available tooling and figure out what tools match my problem. The consumer just wants the world to work. But the maker, that's the person that makes it work. Of course, we all switch all the time between being the consumer and being the maker in our daily life. But I see people around me that seem to spend a lot more time in the maker role than other people. Those are people I aspire to be like, because I genuinely consider them to be better and more valuable people, to be honest. So what I'm saying is that don't go around feeling entitled to having things work for you, because that attitude is just gonna make you unhappy and unproductive. Instead, try to assume responsibility and make things better. I'm going to finish this episode with one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite books, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the quote is, "Be a light, not a judge. Be a model, not a critic." I'm MPJ. This is FunFunFunction. Until next Monday morning, stay curious.